spider monkey.
No, the diamonds are here.
You greasy bastard. Where's my shoes?
Sign your pity on the running time.
Big and white and cruel and mean.
Kiss my Converse. Easy, white chocolate. I wouldn't want you to melt.
But you just have to give me twice as much blood.
I'm coming.
I don't want you to come.
You're gonna need a bigger
Spider monkey. Spider monkey. Hold on tight, spider monkey.
All right, welcome to the Bowels of Movie Night. I am Larry, and with me as always is my feckless co-host Isaac. How are you doing this week, Isaac?
Man, I happened to catch some of the clips from the Oscars this week. I know everyone's been talking about it. I don't want to get too far into it.
Really, no one else in America has said a single word to me about it. But
Really? Huh. Funny.
it's really something.
Slap heard around the world. So, the only thing I want to know is if Will Smith has buried his acting career like many think that he might have, what work might he go into now? And I think the main question on America's lips is, will Will Smith Smith?
I wish this podcast was visual so that people can watch me get up and leave, which is what I want to do. Thank you for the oldest joke on planet Earth. In fact.
Oh, it's the best joke.
No, it's really not.
No, because you say his name twice and then twice again, but it also is a meaningful sentence.
This is what we flipped it around for, huh?
He might be a blacksmith now because he can't get acting jobs.
Well,
'Cause
he's
a
certainly not
violent
going to be a
prick.
white smith. No
Okay.
one's more ashamed of themselves than me.
Fair enough. Will Smith in whiteface playing a Smith might win him another Academy Award.
He's going to get another fucking Oscar. God damn
And he
it.
could slap the shit out of whoever he wants if he pulls that off. He could slap Meryl Streep right across the face. Right
Is that
across the
first-
ass, actually.
Is that the
That'd be
first time
better.
Chris Rock has worked in the lab? I just realized what you were saying. It's always Meryl Streep with you.
She is the actress.
I couldn't pick her out of a lineup, if I'm being totally brutally
Meryl
honest with you.
Streep?
I could not
Really?
pick Meryl Streep out of a lineup, yep.
What's wrong with you?
I mean, I can't pick most actors or actresses out of a lineup, to be fair.
But
I
Meryl
couldn't.
Streep.
I really couldn't, Isaac. I'm not kidding.
I
know she's very talented. I've seen movies she's in where she's very talented, but
I'm
not
going to strap you to a chair and glue your eyelids open and put Meryl Streep pictures in front of your face.
I mean, or I could just Google her. You psychopath.
Whichever you want to do, let me know.
Well,
Oh, God.
This is the Bowels of Movie Night, though. I could understand why you wouldn't believe it. Every week, we force one another to watch the worst pieces of shit that the streaming services of America and beyond have to offer. I wonder if there's other streaming services in other countries.
We have to do Bollywood. We
we
gotta
do have to do
that in tandem.
I mean, you're owed a Bollywood movie after I had to watch Grand Masti. Which, man, after the last, I don't know how many years of this podcast, Grand Masti feels like an old friend. I feel like if I turned that on to be like, look at this. Look at this movie that makes sense.
It's 4 years ago. It's been a while.
Oh,
I do want to make another quick announcement, sort of, or just because we recently covered a Bruce Willis movie, Breach, which was terrible.
I think it was the worst movie you've ever seen.
It was bad in a lot of ways. And we made fun of Brucey, a decent amount, but not overly so, I don't think. Although apparently the news has come out that he has aphasia, which is a medical disorder where more or less your communication skills and your mental faculties start deteriorating.
Right.
So, and that's part of the reason some of the movies he's turned out over the last few years haven't been the best necessarily. And there's a lot of speculation that he might have been just taking every job he possibly could while he was still able to help, raise money for his family when he's no longer able to work. So,
right.
And Bruce, honestly, we make fun, we kid, but you live in our hearts pretty solidly. You've had a lot of really good roles, we respect you and love you.
If the next 30 episodes of the show were just bad Bruce Willis movies, I would still go to my grave saying Bruce Willis was a great actor. No question. I mean, Die Hard, that alone is good enough.
Yeah,
not to mention literally everything else he's ever done.
He's no Meryl Streep, but he had his place, and he did great.
And I assume he doesn't look like her? I wouldn't know.
A hole's a hole, Larry. A hole's a hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bruce,
Well,
we feel for you. We wish
Yeah.
the best for you in your retirement, and
we know you're listening.
we're gonna miss you.
We will miss you. Yes.
And
Thank
but
you for
some of those movies. You
Listen.
still deserve to be poked and prodded over because they're. Pretty
I
bad.
will make Isaac watch Hudson Hawk before this podcast dies
Okay.
because it's a fantastic movie, but I'm pretty sure he will hate it. Don't worry.
Just
Bruce
don't ever make me
fans.
watch Pulp Fiction. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Okay, so
Dude,
yeah,
what's in the briefcase?
what's in the box?
What's in the box? So you can, if you're interested in the ramblings of two morons, you can tweet us or twat us at Bells on Netflix, or you can find us on Facebook, or what are the other places? You can hit your grandmother with a fish. I think it's one of the ones you usually
Diddle
say.
us.
Twiddle us and diddle us. Don't diddle me.
Yeah. See,
Don't diddle me, please. Just a request.
this is on this. Don't blame me for this because this came from
that's
a podcast
great
I listened
start.
to.
Great start.
See how much cat food you can fit in your grandma's vagina.
And what podcast was this?
Matt and Mattingly's Ice Cream Social. I've tried to
good.
get you into it, and you didn't like it for some reason. I don't know why.
I listened to, I want to say 111 episodes, somewhere along that line. I gave it a fair shake. Listen, when it was funny, it was very funny, and every other time they were not.
But yeah, cramming cat food in a vagina was a recent bit they had, which just tickled me to no end.
That's horrible, but great. And meanwhile, I've been listening to another podcast where they've been talking about digging a bean hole, and I cannot stop thinking about eating beans out of a hole. Now, I know right after the vagina bit, that's really off-putting, but no, I just mean beans out of a hole in the ground. There's like a beanhole beans. It's a main specialty. I'm going to dig a hole. You're going to hear that I've killed myself accidentally by burning down 20 acres of land by accidentally setting a forest on fire, trying to cook beans in a hole.
See, I'm picturing my grandmother queefing navy beans into my grandfather's mouth right now.
So if you like this content, you can check us out at theearlybeard.com, EARLY beard.com, which is our new website where we don't post any pictures of the things we talk about.
Yeah, the website's
Usually-
actually surprisingly professional compared to what we discuss on the podcast.
I mean, the front page does say 2 men, 4 balls, 1 dream, because I thought about mentioning, when I was talking to the podcast with my boss, who I have a great relationship with, I was thinking about telling her about it. I'm like, oh, if she opens up that webpage while I'm sitting here, I'll have to leave the state. So
I mean, feel free to edit the amount of balls to make it accurate.
you're right. It's 5.
He snuck
I
an
have
extra one in there.
I have a secret ball that you will never know about. This is terrible. When I run the opening, it goes off the rails immediately. Thank you for keeping me on track. I can't keep you on track.
Oh,
I'm like
man,
a
no,
dog when it sees something shiny.
I wasn't helping this week. But
If
at
you-
any rate, what movie are you covering?
Just as we're going to talk about you shitting your grandmother's pussy for another 2 hours.
Cat food. Wet or dry? Which would you
God.
rather put?
Oh, Lord. I'm going to be ill. Let's just move on. Let's
Okay.
talk about something far more reasonable. Nazis.
And the moon.
Yes, moon Nazis. The Iron Sky will be today's feature that I am covering. A blast from the past, more like a blast from Isaac's ass. Am I right?
Darn tootin'.
Yeah, darn tootin', like right out of your asshole. So this is a movie that a long time ago Isaac covered on one of our early iterations of the show.
9 years ago, I think.
Yeah, a long time. It does not sound good. We just didn't know what we were doing, but we had fun. And I mean, it stuck. This one stuck with you. And so before we get too far into it, what do you remember about this movie? Because I realized when I restarted my computer, I didn't reopen my tabs. So go ahead, install for me if you don't mind.
I remember very little, other than obviously like the Nazis have been hiding in the hollow moon.
Not hollow, but yes.
Okay. In a moon base, I suppose.
In fairness, the movie you watched after you watched Iron Sky did involve the Hollow Earth. So
yeah, thank you for that.
You can be somewhat forgiven.
So yeah, there's Nazis hiding out on the moon post World War II.
Yes.
And then they're trying to do an invasion of Earth again. And I know there's a black guy who gets white-faced and Nazified. And then there's a hot chick who might have a face turn. I don't really remember.
You remember pretty well, yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty accurate.
And there's a Nazi invasion of Earth, I think. Where they go after the president. I might be confusing it with Independence Day.
You hit the major points, yes. So I'm impressed for being a movie you saw once 9 years ago. I'm impressed. You know, I mean, for this show, it's not like it's something you went out of your way to watch on your own.
No, I had no enjoyment of it.
Well, no one will blame you. It is a 2012 Finnish, German, Australian comic science fiction film. I can't. So it was probably pretty new when we were watching it.
Yeah, it must have just come out.
On IMDb, it has a 5.9 out of 10.
Jeez.
Yeah, people kind of like this one, and I sort of see why a little bit, but not really.
Nazis in the moon. That's one of those absurd. It's so bad you gotta love it premises.
We're gonna get into it in the review, but I am in love with the idea of moon Nazis being a villain for Earth to fight. Like, I can't get enough of it.
I see what you mean.
Like, Nazis just make great movie villains, and it's we got a whole review to talk about it. On Rotten Tomatoes, this has a 40% of the tomato meter and a 37% audience score. So not as low as we've seen, but pretty low. You know, people consistent with that. It's a 3% margin of difference there. So, and yeah, there's not really a whole lot to talk about. Overall with the feature, it's a bunch. I mean, it's like I said, it's Finnish, German, Australian. So I don't. Yeah, it is Australian. Wow, what a weird trio. What a weird new axis of evil. Finland,
Larry,
Germany, and Australia.
It finished German, Australian. Where did it start?
Is this your way of telling me your wife is pregnant and you're working on your dad jokes? Because
can you be pregnant when you're a corpse?
Jesus, Isaac.
I joke. I haven't murdered my wife. Her severed head isn't in the freezer.
Well, that is oddly specific, but I guess good to know.
It's in a brine pickle solution in the refrigerator.
Wonderful. You're really, really wonderful.
Yeah.
This movie had a sequel 7 years later called Iron Sky: The Coming Race. I believe we mentioned it was right there, fucking right smack dab in the middle of my Amazon Prime reviews, because that's shot to hell now thanks to the show, along with my Netflix and HBO. So, I guess there's not much. We're just going to get right into it here. The first promising factor of this movie that's just fucking great to see is the sheer number of companies and production houses which get a nod before the film even takes place.
That's always a good sign.
No less than 9 companies involved.
God.
And
I haven't seen that many.
I think it's some of them might have been like places they got film grants. I think one was like Helsinki Film Society or some shit. Like it's something
But
like
still.
that. And it gets worse, as we'll see, because we open on space where a little digital readout tells us that it's 2018, so 6 years into the future from the year this movie came out. And we see fucking more production houses.
Oh my God.
The first set, like I said, I think it was film bonds and film societies that gave grants, because it was like very sort of highfalutin sort of things. And then over the like opening crawl, there was like, you know, Big Dick Productions and Tom, Dick, and Harry presents a Dick feature. Dick. I don't know why I'm focusing. I'm just hungry. Nope, not funny. Not even true.
Do you need me to mail you a hot dog?
Please don't.
I'll do
Please
it.
Don't.
It's heating up. We're getting into the warmer months. It's hot dog mailing season.
That's the most horrifying thing I've ever heard. Yes, that's when all the. Imagine trying to explain it to an alien. Just imagine a 1950s film with like the kind of like the Always Sunny music, and just being like, yes, hot dog mailing season.
Okay, wait.
When young boys mail their sweethearts hot dogs in the mail.
Here's how we defeat Putin. Every single American mails him a hot dog. The Kremlin would just be filled with rancid meat.
I don't think they're just going to... I feel like the mail department might sort through it if suddenly there's...
No, okay, everyone label important. VIP, Putin.
Yeah, label it Ukraine troop positions and just fill it full of hot dogs. That's great. Fucking, this is the worst podcast of all time.
It really
Go
is.
listen to his weird cat food vagina one. There's more fucking companies involved in the creation of this film plugged at the beginning than I've ever seen in my entire life. Like I think the final count is like 14. It's ridiculous.
God damn, that's crazy.
We see some kind of lander is landing on the moon while we get generic chatter in the background from ground control over some quiet 40s song that feels vaguely reminiscent of Daisy from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Although it's Eastern European, even though it's in English, so it's clearly like some German 40s song from the war. So the mission lands, and the astronauts reluctantly drop the banners off the side, featuring a Sarah Palin type with a banner that says, "Yes, we can," emblazoned on it. So this movie was made in 2012 when people gave a single shit about Sarah Palin, a person who I hope has since died or, retreated into some hole in Alaska. She's probably going to be president in fucking 8 years. I don't know the president's name, but it might as well be Sarah Parasailin for how thinly veiled the whole thing is. Anyway, the astronauts go out and do some moon stuff, and the leader of the mission mentions looking for helium-3. Now, Isaac, helium-3 is technically the central plot point that drives this entire movie, which is odd because it's also entirely an afterthought for the vast majority of the time. It's basically just at the beginning and at the very end, which it's very important in the beginning and the end, and then not in the middle at all, which is very odd.
Are there different types of helium?
Yes. Considering the fact that it matters so much to the stupid ending of this movie, which we'll get to, I got curious. I'm not a science guy, and I didn't know if it was real. So I took a quick search, and Wikipedia told me everything I needed to know, because I'm not doing fucking crazy research on a movie about moon Nazis, and I refuse. And
I know there's a helium shortage.
You can suck an ass.
Amount of helium.
So this is a direct quote. Much speculation has been made over the possibility of helium-3 as a future energy source. Unlike most nuclear fission reactions, the fusion of helium-3 atoms releases large amounts of energy without causing the surrounding material to become radioactive. However, temperatures required to achieve helium-3 reactions are much higher than in traditional fusion reactions, and the process may unavoidably create other reactions that themselves would cause the surrounding materials to become radioactive. And the important part here, quote, the abundance of helium-3 is thought to be greater on the moon than on Earth, having been embedded in the upper layer of regolith, whatever that is, by the solar wind over billions of years, though still in lower abundance than the solar system's gas giants. So fucking credit where it's due, Iron Sky, I can't believe I'm saying that already. They fucking shockingly, correctly covered their ass and prevented me from having to do a science alert.
Yeah.
About what I assumed was fake unobtainium fuel. But no, it's not only a real thing, it's actually reasonably feasible. If a bunch of moon Nazis were to go up there, that's how they would fuel their spaceships.
I'm surprised.
I am also surprised. It was a good start. Because I watched my movies twice because I am insane and just hate myself. And so when I watched it, usually I watch it the first time and I kind of don't do anything, and then the second time is when I start to get upset and fired up and look into stuff. But the first time I watched this, I'm like, I'm just going to look into this now because I'm going to be upset about it the whole time anyway. And it was a good start to be like, okay, not only is it a real thing, it's not just like a thing they made up out of nothing. Like, it's a thing that could reasonably be in this movie. It does not stay good.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a black man being turned white. Anyway, the lead astronaut, whose spacesuit looks terrible, by the way. The budget of this movie, which I should have said that when I had IMDb up, and of course I don't now, because why would I? Why would I do that, Isaac? That would be the thing a smart man would do.
You are a consummate professional.
I am neither of those things. How dare you?
We should get, like, medals. Like Bowels of Netflix medals to wear. And, like, have military suits when we record.
Pals
so we
of
look
movie
like
night.
Kim Jong-un or whatever.
Look like Kim Jong-un or whatever.
It'd just be, like, best podcaster ever.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. The budget for this movie, I don't know what fucking made-up money symbol this is. Shit, I don't recognize.
The Finnish clam.
Honestly, it could be the Finnish clam.
You finish right in that clam.
Oh, it's euro. Okay. So the budget.
You didn't know the euro symbol.
Dude, I fucking live in Pennsylvania. I'm lucky I was taught to know what a book is. The budget for this movie is estimated at $7,500,000. And it grossed $10,100,000. So it made a little bit of money. But the budget, for being a 2012 movie, looks pretty good. Like, as far as memory serves right now, Well, I mean, we'll talk a lot about the visual design. This spacesuit looks like shit. Maybe this was the last scene they filmed, and the fucking prop guy was already like doing lines in Acapulco.
Costume designer phoned it in.
Yeah, because like this thing looks like shit, but the movie itself looks pretty good for
That's
being.
That's what I remember.
You know,
I don't remember being angry like visually necessarily. It was all story.
I have a lot of nice things to say about the visuals as you get on here too. It's very odd. I believe I did see at one point. I can't remember if it was this one or the sequel was like the most expensive Finnish film ever made. Don't say it. Don't fucking say it.
I was trying to think of one, but
I know you were. I fucking know you were.
I think the gears turning.
I think it may have been the sequel, but yeah, it doesn't look bad for what it is. But this spacesuit looks like shit. So he climbs a ridge and discovers on the dark side of the moon a massive mining installation as well as tanks full of helium-3. I briefly thought about the whole dark side of the moon thing and how it's probably implausible that that there could be things hiding up there from Earth. But then I realized I'd be looking about the implausibility of a bunch of Nazis who in 1940 found a way to blast themselves to the moon and live on the moon and create society on the moon. And I realized that my time was probably better served elsewhere.
Get your priorities in order, Beard.
Yeah. However, as he excitedly turns to tell the other astronaut to come take a look, a Nazi, clearly, stands up in a World War II version of a spacesuit that looks far better than the crappy spacesuits the real astronauts are in.
Hey,
and
the Nazis' fashion sense was on point. You gotta give them that.
Was it Hugo Boss?
That sounds right.
I believe that's who created the Nazi uniforms. You could tell that's where the designer was into, like, I'm going to make the coolest looking Nazi spacesuits ever. And, these guys just, whatever, a jumpsuit with a patch on it and a helmet made out of a fishbowl. It's not that bad, but it's pretty rough.
Costume designer was Joseph Mengele Jr.
Fucking Mengele. There's a restraining order. We've asked you not to come to the studio anymore.
My daddy, he was a scientist.
I'm going to put you out with the deer. So yeah, we can tell by the Luger pistol and the swastika armband that this is in fact the Moon Nazi in its natural habitat. As we all know, Moon Nazis and Center of the Earth Nazis make the best villains, so to me, this is very exciting. There's nothing quite like getting a bunch of Nazis to fucking blow up to really start a morning. Like watching a bunch of Nazis get murdered, like as much as I'm very much against and I get very upset by like just seeing random civilians get killed in movies. Boy, do I like watching some Nazis get their fucking shit kicked in. It's the best.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Nazis.
I think I've had a wet dream to the image of like the Inglourious Bastard guys shooting Hitler in the face with a machine gun.
Yeah. I mean, truly, there is not like fuck every Nazi that ever existed. Like they truly love to see them get their asses kicked. So, the Nazis use an old-timey rocket launcher to blow up the lunar lander, blowing the other astronaut clear to be captured by the rest of the Nazis. Oh, and I don't know if I said it, but the lead astronaut, he gets shot in the head. So he's dead.
Okay.
And there's something to be said about the science of a rocket launching in space, but if you've watched enough space shows, it kind of stops mattering after a while. So
it shouldn't make noise.
No, it shouldn't. The Nazis take him away over our title screen, and it appears the Nazis have made a gigantic highway and trains in the dark side of the moon, as well as, of course, a giant fortress shaped like a swastika, because, Isaac, how would you know they were Nazis if they didn't make a fortress shaped like a swastika?
Right on the nose.
So our main character is a Nazi schoolteacher named Renata. I think it's Renata, who is leading a class of Hitler Youth in the Nazi salute, as well as their warped version of history. I'm going to call Renata Frau, which is basically the equivalent of calling her Mrs.
Yep.
But to be totally frank with you, I love the word Frau. It's short, sweet, to the point, and I like the way it sounds in my mouth, so I'm going to call her Frau.
I'm just immediately going to Young Frankenstein, Frau Blucher.
Yeah. Renate is 3 syllables, and fuck it, they're Nazis anyway, so I'll call them whatever the hell I goddamn want. So in German, via the children, Frau gives us the backstory of how the Nazis ended up on the moon. And while she leads the children in the traditional Heil Hitler salute, one little Nazi smartass reminds her that since the 65th birthday of the new Fuhrer, we now say Heil Korpsstash, which absolutely is not his name, but it's a complicated German name, and I realize because they're Nazis, they just can fuck off, and I'm just going to call them whatever. So the new Fuhrer His name is Corpse Stash, like corpse stash, like a mustache of a corpse.
Or like you're stashing a corpse in the crawl space after you've made it a corpse when it used to be a little boy that was alive.
That would have been easier to type, but for some reason I got hung up on corpse mustache. I don't know why. So yeah, Frau tells them they are all learning English for their eventual return to Earth. Apparently, in 1945, the Nazis fled Earth after their failure to do anything remotely good for the planet and escaped to the dark side of the moon. She shows Charlie Chaplin's film The Great Dictator, though it's only the scene where Chaplin, as a Hitler pastiche, he doesn't play Hitler, he plays like Adolf Harmler or something stupid like yeah, he's playing a pastiche of Hitler. Is playing with a beach ball of Earth, like set to classical music. For those of you unaware, that film is 2 hours long and nothing but a total mockery of Hitler, Mussolini, and the Nazis that Chaplin made prior to America's involvement in World War II to basically tweak his nose at the shitty bastards in Europe who are trying to take over the world. In Frau's version, however, she mentions that it is 10 minutes long and the most famous film in the world, symbolizing how Charlie Chaplin wanted the whole world to be in, quote, Hitler's gentle, caring hands. Unquote.
I forgot all about this. I certainly wasn't as angry as I should have been at this mockery.
Well, just sit tight. So typical brainwashing propaganda here. Go ahead.
Also call to mind the Three Stooges, who very similarly did several shorts, You Nazi Spy, and a few different ones.
Is that the one where they
early on in Hitler's regime, and as Jewish comedians in America, like, fuck God, I love it.
Is that Three Stooges one the one where they put the explosive in the cue ball?
There's several different ones, and one of them does have that, yeah.
Okay.
There's some that are a little, like, insensitive to Japanese people.
Well, yeah.
But it's the 1940s, in the midst of the war, so
right.
I feel like they get a pass.
In that day and time, yes, they do. I mean, we're allies with Germany now, and they seem on the level.
Like, and Japan, too.
Yeah, yes, exactly, right.
In the aftermath of
in the middle of
Pearl
a world
Harbor,
war, I think you're allowed to be, you're allowed to be a little. Upset.
We can make Russian jokes now.
Yeah, well,
fucking Russians making love to bears or whatever they do in Siberia.
We were making those before. We didn't. Well, the comedy community didn't want to tell you. All of us, we got together. We had a meeting, but we've been making them the whole time.
In Russia, bear eats you.
That's a classic. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one yet. There is a one single. I've seen a lot of the Three Stooges, but most of it when I was a kid, and it's been since then basically.
Oh, you got
fantastic
down memory lane.
Them. There was one scene where I don't remember what the circumstances were, but there was Nazis and they were there, and Curly had a picture of Hitler on his back, and he was like trying to open a door, and this Nazi was going to come up and shoot him, and he kept hiling him, and then Curly would turn around and say Heil Hitler, and the Nazi would shoot him, and they'd turn around, and there was the picture. God damn, the Three Stooges are great.
Oh man, they're geniuses. Pure comedy.
Yeah, they really are. Like, they're so amazing. But yeah, so in this, Charlie Chaplin made a 2-hour movie about how Hitler's a dumb piece of shit, and in this version, Frau was like, he wanted Hitler to be the rule of the world. That's the important part here. Gotcha. Meanwhile, our American astronaut is being taken before some high-ranking Nazis while surrounded by Nazi soldiers. Apparently, wherever they are...
Is the American astronaut the black guy?
Yes.
Okay.
But we'll get to that in 1 second.
Okay.
Apparently, wherever they are, there's just oxygen, and as far as I can tell, it's never explained, but in this case, it's fine. It doesn't matter. The movie's not about that. They just have magical fucking Nazi science or whatever. They're in a dome. It's never explained. Who cares?
There's no noise in space.
Thank you, Doctor. So over the speakers, the national anthem of Nazi Germany begins as the new Fuhrer arrives. I at no point in this review spelled the word Fuhrer correctly. Like I said, I called him Corpse Stash. And so Corpse Stash is a stern, older German man. We see the soldier who captured the American is a man named Adler that I'm going to call Advil because fuck him, who cares? He clearly disdains Corpse Stash as Advil proceeds to Heil Hitler right in Corpse Stash's presence. You're supposed to Heil Corpse Stash now. Why are you heiling Hitler? I'm a froofy Nazi. I like pineapples in the boom boom. What's that from? Little Nicky. Where Hitler has to keep putting pineapples in his asshole.
Oh, right, because he's in hell. Yeah, that makes sense.
Corpse Stash keeps having coughing fits that never really pays off, but I think it matters in the sequel, so Why I'm mentioning it. I read the synopsis of the sequel because I was too curious after I saw. I happened to pass it on my way to Iron Sky, and I saw a clip of the trailer, and I was like, well, now I have to look because that's just what do you mean? What are you talking about? So yeah, the Nazis all think that the astronaut is a spy from Earth who is ready to lead the ground troops to take over the moon. They take off his helmet and discover that the astronaut is a black man. Yes, our lead astronaut plays a man named James Washington. By the way, like I said, I'm pretty sure no one single person in this movie has a career worth mentioning, at least in the Americas from the brief research I did. So I'm not going to bother with actresses and actors today because they maybe were, important or popular in Finnish or German cinema. I don't know. The Nazis are all stunned that he's black, which confused and angered me until I remembered, oh, wait, they're Nazis on the moon. None of them have ever actually seen a black person before.
Right.
Which is incredibly stupid, but okay, I get that at least.
And they were, they didn't like the blacks either.
No, they didn't like anything except themselves. And
also,
tiny little fucking German villages.
His last name being Washington means he's a descendant of George Washington Carver, the only black scientist. Is that correct?
I am not going to commit to saying anything that could be used against me on recording.
I learned from elementary school he invented peanut butter. That's all I have.
Yeah, that's what I know about him too.
I know. I'm making a mockery of our education in the 90s in America.
It's terrible. Yeah, I think in the 90s and everything leading up to the 90s.
I don't know what Harriet
now.
Tubman did. I don't know anything about her, and I'm ashamed of that.
Railroad, right?
I think so.
Yeah. She led a bunch of slaves to freedom to the Underground Railroad.
That sounds right. But I know Washington Carver with the peanut butter. Thanks, America.
Yeah, I know the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but I don't know how a fucking mortgage works. Seriously, the American education system has failed so many people.
Phenomenal.
So on Earth, we see President Fake Palin wearing a shirt with her face on it and using a Stairmaster while she calls her campaign manager on basically the same full-length hologram phones that the Avengers use.
I'm so tired of lazy descriptions of, aloof presidents. I don't know.
Go on.
Okay, and I actually, to bring up Meryl Streep for real, in the Adam McKay movie Don't Look Up, where the president was played by Meryl Streep actually.
Okay.
I don't know. The movie was fine. She was fine. But I don't know. I'm just so done with the aloof president.
Well, what do you mean? I'm genuinely curious. What do you mean?
Where she's just so focused on her campaign instead of any actual issues. That's just such a trope that's been done over and over. I'm just tired of seeing it in movies.
I think it's true.
I know, I get it, but I'm just, it's just boring.
Oh, don't worry. This fake Sarah Palin is anything but that. She just happens to be wearing a fake.
I don't remember anything about the character, so I'm curious.
Believe it or not, in this comedy movie about moon Nazis, the fake Sarah Palin is a bit over the top.
Get out of here.
They made the fucking lunar lander have pictures of her face on it saying, yes, we can.
Larry,
yes.
Who invented jelly?
George Washington Barber. I don't know who invented Smucker. J.B. Smucker. J.B. Smoove. J.B. Smoove invented jelly.
Yes, I want to be in that universe.
The J.B. Smoove universe?
Where he invented jelly? Call them Bernstein Bears all you want. I don't care. As long as J.B. Smoove invented jelly.
It's the same universe as ours, except J.B. Smoove invented jelly. There was no jelly until J.B. Smoove.
That makes me so irrationally happy.
It really does. That's the best Futurama joke, which is very similar, where they go to the edge of the universe and look off, and it's the same thing, except everyone's wearing cowboy outfits. And then Fry says, "Oh, so they're infinite universe?" And the professor's like, "No, just the two." I want to live in the two universes, the regular universe and the J.B. Smoove invented jelly universe. Oh, God, why is that so funny?
I'm tickled pinker than the inside of all of the boys.
The president blames the manager, Vivian is her name, the manager's name, for the failure of the moon mission, while the manager insists it was the president's idea. Apparently this mission was meant to boost the approval ratings of the president, and it didn't work. Although at this point I didn't know if the U.S. is aware the astronauts are dead or not. Who cares? We see on a poster that this campaign was called Black to the Moon because Washington is black.
Oh, man.
I can kind of see Sarah Palin as president doing something like that. Just a little bit. Palin talks to the Secretary of Defense, and they try to parse out how this was supposed to win her votes. What it boils down to is that they thought it would look good they were sending a black guy to the moon. Mm-hmm. They also call Colin Powell an errand boy.
Ah, gross.
I mean, I think these are supposed to be villains, so it's not like the filmmakers thought this, but
I know.
It's awfully confusing because, like, the main... I don't know, I wouldn't call Washington the main character. One of the main characters, him, like, being black and is not really a plot point. It's gonna... I know it's weird to say that, especially because he's going to be turned white in this movie, but it's, like, not really a plot point for very long.
And can we just not use the phrase errand boy even jocularly? Like,
yeah, well, this is 2012, and
I guess
everything's still terrible. Who am I kidding? It's all terrible.
Racism is the world. It's God.
It's great. I love it. Just love this planet.
So,
go on.
Would it help if I wore blackface?
Isaac, as your friend, and for the sake of this career that we have together, I must insist that you wear blackface. What do you mean, would it help? What do you mean, would it help? You mean like at the time where I got my tits out because those two porn stars had their tits out? In that sort of sense? Or do you just mean like to end racism? Do you want to fucking Kendall Jenner Pepsi your way to fixing racism with blackface?
Yeah, basically Kendall Jenner my way to, fixing racism.
Was it Kendall Jenner?
To have whatever Jenner. I don't know.
If it was, I nailed that for a total guess.
I think it was Kendall. But yeah, just to have a Karen like start yelling at me for being black, and then I just start smudging it away and be like, "Ha, bitch, I'm white."
Well, tell you what, you do that. Let us know how it goes. And listeners, if you'd like to apply as a position of a co-host
shot by the police
on the bowels of oh man, you made it sadly real.
Yeah, well. Racism's a problem, Larry.
It is. I'm not denying it. I mean, it's tackled in this movie in a very bizarre way.
So yeah, back to the film. I'm sorry.
Fucking wow! I don't even know where to. So Advil, the Nazi who captured Washington, comes into Frau's class. Apparently, these two are dating or something. We'll get to that. It's very confusing. He brings her with to interrogate Washington as she's the leading authority on Earth culture, I guess. Speaking of, Washington, I forgot about this. He's waiting to be interrogated and overhears two men talking about sauerkraut because they're fucking German Nazis. Of course, the only thing they can talk about is German shit. That's the fucking... Man, you know, if the Nazis weren't bad enough, everything they like is fucking boring 1500s German shit.
Hey, I will defend sauerkraut to the day
I like sauerkraut.
I eat sauerkraut by itself.
Yeah, I'm a fan of sauerkraut. It's just so fucking, I don't know. It's
lazy.
Dumb.
It's lazy, yeah.
It's very lazy. Well, if you're a Nazi listening to this podcast, by the way, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself right into the sun.
Yeah, shove as much sauerkraut as you can in your mom's pussy.
Only if she, too, is a Nazi. Maybe she thinks you've made bad decisions, in which case, listen to your mother. Washington tries to endear himself to the Nazis by mentioning German things like Volkswagen and Farfignutten, which is a word that I know, but I don't know what it means. One of the Nazis shoves him over, and then the dumbest... I can't believe this actually happened. In the dumbest move of any movie we've ever had that actually works, Washington grabs his helmet, spins in a circle, and knocks out all of the Nazis around him.
Oh, I kind of remember this.
Because he's like down on one knee in like a superhero pose, sort of, and he like just grabs his helmet and just like spin and like knocks them all about the brains with his helmet and like gets. I mean, there's like 50 Nazis around him, so he's like he gets the 6 that are close to him, but. And like Corpse Stash is like, nah, don't shoot. We need him for I don't know, my bumhole.
Experiments.
Yeah, they want to interrogate him. So, Washington, he's trying to escape, and he ends up falling into a ventilation shaft and begins climbing through the Jeffries, making his escape. Meanwhile, Advil and Frau are walking beneath a grate, and Frau is excited to meet the Earthling. She asks Advil how she looks, and he says in English, "You're a knockout," before the grate hits him and he is promptly knocked out, which is a dumb joke, but the execution was good enough to get a chuckle out of me.
That sounds like if Bruce Willis did it in Die Hard,
yes,
I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, it's a simple dumb joke, but sometimes those work. So Washington asks Frau where the exit is, and she kind of wordlessly stares at him, mouth agape, so he runs for the airlock thinking it's a way out. She jumps on his back and tries to stop him, but it's too late. He gets sucked out of the airlock, but manages to hold on. Frau is sucked out as well, but Washington catching her. The force of this causes her skirt to be pushed down and her shirt blown open, which I assumed would be a running trend, but this is in fact the only time something like this happens. And we get to see that as a Nazi, she has on sensible utilitarian underwear because the Nazis truly were the worst people. Washington manages to get them back inside and close the airlock.
So wait, she doesn't have a brassiere that has swastikas like on the nipples?
No, she has like the most. It's one step. It's what Mormon underwear would call sexy. Like it's.
How did they not go with swastika nipples on the bra?
Because it doesn't really fit her character, frankly.
It would be an improvement in my
It's
opinion.
not. It's not. The movie's over the top, but not that over the top.
Are on the moon. You need swastikas on the brassiere, is what I'm saying.
I know that you're wrong, but I can't in good conscience tell you you're wrong, because technically you're right. So Washington manages to get them back inside, which is ridiculous. But again, we're throwing a lot of physics out the window because so much of this happens on the moon. I can't. It's just the whole movie would just be me yelling about science.
Can't science alert everything in this kind of film.
Advil, furious, comes in and tries to shoot Washington, but Washington begs off, saying he knows the president of the USA and can be a valuable source of info. The interrogation begins, and we learn that Frau's father is a mad Nazi scientist as Daddy and Advil conduct the interrogation. We also learn that Washington is a model, not actually anyone of importance. Washington says he's just here for the paycheck, and Earth doesn't even know that the Nazis are here. They start asking about his possessions, and when they get to his phone, he says, "Oh, that's my kick-ass cell phone and a computer." Who fucking talks like that? Who talks like that?
Every time I bring my phone out, that's what I say.
Oh, this is my phone and a computer? Yeah.
My kick-ass phone and a computer.
Right. Your kick-ass cell phone and a computer.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, the mad scientist daddy scoffs and shows off the big Bessie room-sized computers of the World War II era. Anyway, the Nazis start in with their different brain structure stuff, and how he isn't as smart as the Aryan, blah, 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 usual Nazi horse shit. So they're going to interrogate him more until they have to use torture. On Earth in the UN, the Secretary of Defense tells the UN members that the space mission went dark after landing, but some of the countries don't believe America was sending the mission only for re-election. This all leads nowhere, important to a very lame payoff, but ultimately the takeaway is that nobody believes America is up there not looking for helium-3. This is the last time helium-3 will get mentioned again until the last 3 minutes of this movie.
God damn it.
The campaign manager, meanwhile, has a big boring meeting with her staff where she berates them about being incompetent and terrible at their jobs, and because of them, fake Palin isn't going to be reelected. At first, I really was enjoying the campaign manager here because her acting in the movie she gets very passionate during her rant, and it's not a bad rant, and she makes for a good angry person. Unfortunately, this goes downhill literally the second the scene ends, and she's one of the worst actresses in the movie. Like, the acting overall ranges from bad to middling. Nothing is good and nothing, or great. I don't know. The main character might be technically good. Nothing is great and nothing is awful. That's the best thing I have to say about it.
Fair enough.
On the moon, we see Frau is listening to a record when she gets a visit from Advil. The nature of their relationship is very unclear, to say the least. I think they're going to be married, which they both kind of seem into, but also seems somewhat arranged thanks to the Department of Racial Purity, which, by the way, kids, real thing, under a slightly different name, fuck the Nazis forever. Frau seems to like him, but is a little taken aback that she will be taking the backseat to a man, as supposedly Advil is in line to be the next Fuhrer. Once he conquers Earth, he will take his place as a new leader of the Nazis. Like I said, the nature of their relationship is muddy, because she seems to like him and be into it, but also, like, wants to keep being a teacher and scientist, and he's like, no, you must produce German babies, because that's what German women do. again, a real thing that the fucking Nazis were into. Rotten pieces of shit. We cut
Did
over
you
to
know
what
that Michelle Obama modeled her 60 minutes of exercise a day after Ava Braun?
I don't know that I believe you.
You shouldn't, because I'm lying.
Okay. But it's that's one of those things that's just weird enough to be like, maybe Ava Braun had a killer workout routine. I don't know.
But just the idea of Ava Braun being the first lady of Germany is so bizarre, because she was so weirdly hidden, and she was Hitler's weird fuck toy, and they didn't marry until right before they killed themselves.
I don't know anything about Ava Braun other than that she and Hitler killed themselves in the bunker.
Yeah, he fucked her a bunch and was a secret.
Okay,
it was awkward.
Yeah,
because he wanted to be available. So all the Nazi women were like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll fuck Hitler."
Really? Wow. God,
yeah,
he just gets.
I don't know. He took a bunch of meth too. I don't know. Hitler was not well.
Well, Nazi Germany ran on meth. America runs on Duncan. Nazi Germany ran on meth. That's also not a joke, kids. Okay, where's I at here? So we cut over to what appears to be a giant buried flying saucer that we can't see all of, where the mad scientist is giving Corpse Stash and some other background Nazis a sample of the Earth technology. Apparently, this gigantic ship is their greatest weapon, but it can't fly due to their 1940s shitty computers. Thanks to Washington's cell phone, that is also a computer, they've wired it into the ship and can now make it fly. There's a passable USB cord joke here, but not passable enough to actually write it down.
IT alert! It's not how computers work.
You don't say. So they managed to get the ship up and running, but before it can take off, the battery... I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice from screaming about Nazis. The battery on the phone dies and the ship stops. I do want to take a second to heap a tiny bit of praise in this movie for the tech. The Nazi tech in this movie, the design of it is a 12 out of 10. It is incredibly good. I
don't know about 12 out of 10.
It has a very space gothic feel. Lots of cool moving gears and cathode tubes. Someone did their research, and it shows very much. The aesthetic is super cool.
I remember not being annoyed at the look and vibe. I don't think I would have given it a 12 out of 10.
Maybe I'm just a sucker for that. I think they did a really good job of making this be very believably if Nazis were on the moon for 70 years and suddenly attacked Earth, this is how they would do it. It feels spot on. I really was super impressed.
Having no complaints about the look and feel.
I really
like the movie in the context
I really like the setting and how they do the technology of the Nazi ships. And I really it. We'll talk about it later on when they get the ship in the air, spoilers. But and the way their other ships are, I think they really did a bang up job on making it look it looks, if you put me, if you gave me a controller for a video game and I was running around these sets in a game, I would think to myself, man, this looks like a fucking space Nazi ship. It is so solid.
Okay.
It's not over the top. The stupid swastika base is just, of course, it's the shape of a swastika.
Right.
Fucking give me a break. This other stuff, though, it's not overly cartoonish, and it seems very well researched. So I have nothing but good things to say about that whole thing. So anyway, Advil is delighted the ship can fly and asks Corpse Stash to go to Earth to collect more computers. Washington, meanwhile, has been getting a dose of Hitler's speeches blasted into his ears by giant speakers. He is visited... It might not have been Hitler, but again, I don't fucking care. They all sucked, all the same bastard. He visited by Frau, who finds herself fascinated with him. The two of them talk and exchange pleasantries. She asks what's wrong with his skin, and they have a whole thing about it. She gives Washington sort of a rundown of the whole thing going on with the Nazis while bantering about Advil becoming her next husband, and we see there's clearly an attraction between these two. Frau tells him to try to pretend to be a Nazi so that they don't kill him. We then see the mad scientist come in with a bottle labeled Albanizer, which, as you alluded to when you assigned me this, turns him into a white man.
Oh, Albanizer.
The Nazis.
Yeah. God damn it. Jesus.
So Advil prepares to go to Earth with Frau... As Advil prepares to go to Earth, Frau wants to go with, but he refuses to allow it before aggressively kissing her hard on the mouth for way too long, which is, again, it's kind of amusing. Just I don't know. It worked in the moment. It was funny. Corpse Stash arrives to see the expedition off and continues to Advil continues to tweak the now Führer's nose by heiling Hitler instead. You can't heil Hitler. You must heil Corpse Stash. The mad scientist arrives with the now blonde, blue-eyed Washington, who is white, like I said, dressed like a Nazi, who gives a Sieg Heil, but then winks at Frau. So apparently, this is very badly done. Apparently, what we're supposed to believe in this movie, I mean, what the Nazis believe, is that they have turned him white and brainwashed him into being a Nazi. This man is so obviously being a fake Nazi that it's even in a comedy movie, it's like, dude, you're being a fake Nazi. You know that, right? You're doing a very bad job at being a fake Nazi. I don't know what that accent was, but it was not German. So let's just not dwell on it.
You heiled Hitler with the wrong hand.
I don't know why anyone would think that this man was successfully brainwashed.
Your goose stepping is very bad.
This is more like duck stepping. So Advil and Washington, with a handful of Nazi guards, head off to Earth in a flying saucer. It's very dumb to me that they've never tried this before.
So wait, where did they get the flying saucer from?
They make them.
The Nazis have flying saucers?
Yeah.
But they don't have cell phone computing capability.
No.
Fuck. Whatever.
Oh, that part's incredibly dumb. Yeah, they get one cell phone. I mean, it's part of the thing. Yeah, it's stupid. But also, if we bitch about it, we wouldn't have a movie. Because how did they get to space in the 40s?
There's no sound in space. Star Wars shouldn't exist.
Star Wars, I hate that damn Star Wars and George Lucas and goddamn...
All the pew-pews are nonsense.
The pew-pews are the best part of Star Wars.
I know, that's why it's troubling. Let's move on before I get soiled.
I like it get soiled. Like a gentleman is just going to come and soil your pants. Somebody
it's not
shit
me
in my
who's
pants.
doing it. I don't do the soiling. The soiling happens to me. Thank you very much.
So on Earth... The Nazis land on Earth. Yeah, Corpse Stash even says, like, oh, many have gone to Earth, but none have ever returned. And it's like, what are you fucking talking about?
Wait, what? What?
Yeah, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Listen, I've been saying some decent things about this movie. Like, I didn't hate it at this point. It is incredibly dumb. Like, don't get me wrong.
I'm getting angrier and angrier.
The plot is dumb as hell. Like, it doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense that at no point they have flying saucers and they've never come to Earth. And also, they're idiots. Like, they are fucking dumb shit idiots. So it doesn't make any sense. On Earth, they just land in a field. Advil demands Washington take him to the president, which Washington waffles on. Frau shows up, revealing that she came along too against orders. She then aggressively kisses Advil to convince him to let her stay. A farmer woman with a silly hat and a shotgun shows up and shoots dead a Nazi soldier. So they all run. And we never see that woman again. What? They leave their spaceship. By the way, I was wrong. Apparently that was the only Nazi soldier generic one that came with, because it's just the three. It's just Advil, Frau, and Washington from then on. And they just leave. They just fucking run. They're Nazis armed to the teeth with a spaceship. It's dumb as hell. Ah, God. So, they stumble upon some black men playing basketball in an alley, which I mention only because it's a plot point, where Advil spies a Volkswagen bus because, of course, fucking God forbid a Nazi drive anything but a goddamn Volkswagen.
So wait, they suddenly go from a farm to basketball in an alley?
They park, yes. Yeah, honestly, they park like in a field near New York City.
That's not how New York City works.
They just cut away. I don't know, man.
Okay.
Listen.
You know, whatever.
I agree. However, fucking Lord of the Rings, we had to watch every second of Frodo and Sam walking through Mordor. I would have killed myself. So, again,
just the amount of farmland in Brooklyn is...
They don't park in New York City.
All right, move on.
I think done.
Shut up. I hate you. I hate you, Larry. I hate you.
Technically, honestly, this is my fault.
Yeah.
I did this to you almost a decade ago.
Yes.
So you're doing it back to me. Really, I've earned this one.
Is this the circle of molestation?
This is the circle of molestation.
God damn, why is the human race the way it is?
Oh, boy.
Oh.
So, yeah, Advil intends to take this Volkswagen van by gunpoint, but Washington talks him down, saying he'll go talk to them, as the basketball players, as he's one of them. Apparently, Washington does not know that he's a white man, considering the fact that he's dressed like a Nazi with the armband and everything.
Yeah, that would do it.
this gang of basketballers pulls out a bunch of pistols and shoots at them all. Washington freaks out upon realizing he's now a white man, and Advil shouts at him for not thanking them for turning him Aryan. Again, clearly this is not a brainwashed Nazi man, but whatever. Why am I fucking arguing with the movie? Mm-hmm. We also clearly see that Frau is very concerned about Washington. The campaign manager is outside having a cigarette when the van full of Nazis shows up and just grabs her off the street. I guess fucking whatever.
Okay.
Advil asks if the manager knows the president, and when Washington says she does, Advil kicks him out of the bus onto the curb and just leaves him behind. I guess, okay. The Nazi couple interrogates the campaign manager in a warehouse, telling her that they're Nazis from the moon and demands she take them to the president. He says he is going to give the president a gift by eliminating all of the bad people on Earth. Now, this is where the movie gets weirder than it was.
This is where it gets weird?
Yeah. Frau genuinely believed the Nazis were the good guys. Somehow, the fucking propaganda teacher on the moon believed their own propaganda. So she genuinely thought the Nazis were a force of benevolent peacekeepers that got bullied off of the Earth onto the moon.
Wait, you're saying that's not the case?
Isaac, not the time. There's a war on. Which one? So she is upset by the implication that Advil intends to wipe out the undesirables of humanity, and the two argue about it for a minute. Eventually, Advil relents and allows Frau to explain her version of what she thinks the Nazis are, which she proceeds to do, extolling the virtue of the Nazis, and the two of them free the manager, allowing her to move freely. She begins, Frau is doing her epic speech. The manager begins to start sort of undressing Advil and straightening his jacket, and telling the two of them that she needs Frau and she wants Advil. Sexy wants Advil. I need you to fuck away my neck and shoulder pain with your thick German sausage, Advil. So she takes him to meet the president. Things just start happening, and none of it makes any goddamn sense. I think they had a beginning and an end for this movie written, and they just winged it in the middle.
Yeah, that computes.
Because the strangest part of the movie happens as the Nazis... She takes these Nazis, who are dressed like Nazis... Right, the campaign manager does. They start telling her, they tell her, we're Nazis from the moon, and we're here to take over the Earth, one way or another. And she's like, this is the best. Let me take you to see the president. She changes their outfits. She puts them in different armbands. I think the armbands are supposed to be the president's fucking Prince symbol or whatever. Prince, the artist formerly known as symbol, basically.
He's president, just has a symbol that nonsense.
I don't know. It's never explained, but she takes off their swastika armbands and puts on these armbands, and now they're just the advisor and speechwriter to the president.
Larry,
it just happens. She takes him in, and she has Frau start doing her, because Frau does give a great speech, and then they just they just show Sarah Palin giving the speech, and then she wins the re-election or whatever the fuck by Lance, or numbers go up or whatever, and 3 months pass, and now the two Nazis just hang out with the president.
Based on your description of the plot,
yes,
I feel like I need to show you what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass. Because you fucked me in the ass, and I don't know who you are anymore.
It's funny because that guy's name is Larry. God, I think it's the best movie ever made. I really
Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
When we were living together, there was a point where, for a couple months, I watched it literally every day.
It's phenomenal.
I have never smoked a fucking single whisper of a drug in my life, and I think it's genuinely the best movie ever made. There is nothing quite like it on this planet Earth of ours.
No, it's uniquely strange, but at the same time, still emotional. Just the way it gets you here and there.
It's truly incredible. I think I can't.
The Coen brothers are amazing, and Fargo. So many other movies. No Country for Old Men, but Big Lebowski's a unique one. It really is.
Yeah, I think I can confidently say it's my favorite movie. Fucking 3 months pass and suddenly Nazis. Suddenly Nazis.
Thanks.
So yeah, it looks like Palin's going to win re-election or whatever. Months pass, the Nazi couple just lives on Earth now. Frau walks around New York City with her hair down like a normal person. Okay, What the fuck? Again, I don't think they had a middle of this plot written. Because Frau, her whole bit was like, she truly believes that the Nazis are going to leave the moon and come to Earth and, like, bring them peace. Like, they're going to, like, fix the Earth, not with violence, but with, like, we are going to bring our enlightenment to planet Earth. She truly believes this. And Advil is just like, I'm going to be the next Fuhrer, and I'm going to make a bunch of German babies with this broad, and then we're going to rule the Earth. And she's dumb for not seeing that, sure. But also, like, she just is here and, like, living in New York City now. Shouldn't she have questions?
You see, her clitoris got infected by feminism.
Well, not yet. Give it a couple scenes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she has a school to run, and she was mentioning on the moon how she didn't want to leave behind her science to just squirt out a bunch of Nazi babies. But I guess, whatever, I just can't. In the interim, Washington, the astronaut, has become a crazy homeless man holding a sign about the moon Nazis in New York City. Frau stumbles across him, and the two briefly reconnect by fighting as Washington blames her for making him white. Not a sentence I ever expected they'd be writing. They end up in the police station for fighting in the street, and after the police don't take any of their stories seriously, they get ejected. Frau seems to feel somewhat guilty about how Washington's life has ended up, but doesn't understand why he's angry about being white. I mean, for fuck's sake. There's bad guys and then there's Nazis. Jesus. They're supposed to be idiotic motherfuckers, but when I started watching Iron Sky, I don't know what I was expecting, but it sure as shit wasn't about a bunch of Nazis turning a black guy white. I don't know. They talk in the street while Washington is pissed off that the Nazis stole everything from him. Frau convinces Washington to come watch The Great Dictator with her, as it is conveniently playing in the movie theater they're standing in front of. We cut to after the movie, and Frau is stunned that the movie she once thought was 10 minutes of Nazi love is in fact 2 hours of Charlie Chaplin at his finest ridiculing the Nazis. She is incredulous that people seem to not see the Nazis as anything but evil or a joke. Washington says she's less like a Nazi than she should be, considering she was raised in a Nazi-only society on the moon. In case you forgot, this was about moon Nazis.
The moon?
Yes. He points out some skinheads down the street who are conveniently wearing Nazi armbands, who are graffitiing the wall with swastikas. Frau was convinced that they are good boys who are loyal to the Reich and loyal to their mothers, because the Nazis, and goes to talk to them, but they immediately comment on her rack. Washington tries to intervene, but they start beating him up, so Frau starts kicking them in the balls. In a limo nearby, Advil and the campaign manager are discussing the presidential campaign, with the manager stating they need a good war to keep public interest up. Advil remarks that he could just bring in a bunch of moon Nazis, and the manager laughs him off as never-breaking character. What does she think he is? What does she think he is? I was willing to.
Stop looking for a reason.
This is why I was willing to accept, like, the bullshit science and all that other crap, because whatever. But the plot has now taken a deep swerve into absolutely nonsensical. What is this whole middle of this movie just does not make any sense. Just set the Nazis on the Earth. What I buy a ticket for? What are you doing? I don't know.
Don't look for a reason. Don't stop. Stop it, you fool.
He takes the campaign manager upstairs to show her his plans, but not before the two of them start to make out in the elevator and begin to fuck in the apartment. Even during the fucking, Advil can't stop talking about his secret Nazi plans. While he's fucking her on the floor, he mentions killing the Moon Fuhrer and looks up to see Corpse Stash himself sitting in the room surrounded by Moon Nazi guards. I guess they got tired of waiting for a shipment of Apple iPhones, and I'm sorry, I was like, I don't have your gift for shilling Apple products. I don't know any of the specs, I didn't look them up. But I was going to do a bit for...
Could you tell they were actually iPhones, or were they just generic smartphones?
No. The phone they show at the beginning, it's just a black rectangle. There's no logos on it. So they came to check on Advil since he hadn't come back with the iPhones yet. So the campaign manager is being flippant before begging for her life and being dragged off and shot off screen. Notice I said off screen, so obviously she's not dead. Corpse Stash is upset that Advil is working against him, obviously, and the two have it out. We see that in space, the Nazi moon forces have deployed for the planet with their spaceships. Their biggest ships are shaped like blimps and are carrying asteroids, and Moonfuhrer mentions that they are going to begin the Meteor Blitzkrieg, which admittedly is a fantastically awesome word concept. And I love that. I gotta hand it to him. The
Can we
Nazi
start a punk-
spaceships.
Can we start a punk band called Meteor Blitzkrieg?
Yes. For the first time ever, I want to be in a band.
What are you gonna play?
The skin flute.
Okay.
The Nazi spaceships look fantastic. Again, I gotta hint, the aesthetic is great. They retain the 1945 aesthetic while having space travel capabilities. The big, like their big capital ships are just blimps because of course they are.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
But their little fighter ships are tanks. They're like spaceship tanks. I can't believe in the many, many years of me watching space shows about stuff blowing up in space, I have never seen a tank in space. And for some reason, that is super cool. And I don't know why.
Disagree. That sounds really dumb.
No, man, that's awesome. That's
tank
how a
has
Nazi
to,
from the
it
40s
has its
would...
tread to grab the ground. It would
No,
not function.
it has the tank turret, like the top part. It doesn't need... It's not just like someone threw a tank in space and was like, there, it's a ship.
Well, okay.
They made it into a spaceship, but it has like the top part of a tank. That just looks cool.
Yeah, okay.
It
We'll
looks
see.
cool,
We'll
man.
see.
And like the 2012 effects don't look especially dated or anything, too. Like it looks fine. You know, it doesn't look amazing,
fair
but it looks pretty good, effects wise. But I just, man, they really tons of props to the effects director. Who, man, he must have really loved the Nazis.
I don't know if that counts as a compliment.
No. So yeah, they're carrying asteroids, like I said. What am I looking? Okay, Frau and Washington storm into the office, and Frau tells Advil that she is done with the Nazis, going so far as to call Advil a Nazi piece of shit. Hey, lady, props for turning on the Nazis and all, but when you were a Nazi literally 5 minutes ago, and you face-turned so fast that even the Big Show would be jealous, you cannot be a Nazi at 9 p.m. and then use Nazi as a pejorative at 9:03. Come on. Not how it works. Anyway, as Corpse Stash is about to kill Advil, Frau, and Washington, it turns out the campaign manager is still alive and has the Nazi machine gun, gunning down all the Moon Nazis and Corpse Stash. This officially makes Advil the Moon Fuhrer, and the manager tells him that the soldier fell for the old one last blowjob offer. So in the scene where she gets killed, the Corpse Stash is like, take her out, Moon Corporal! And the Moon Corporal takes her out, and she's going like, no, please, anything, bang! So somehow in the span of that 2 seconds where we heard the gunshot, she convinced him that she would give him a blowjob and then, I suppose, wrestle the gun. I don't know. It's dumb. The timing is bad. Anyway, Advil grabs the gun from the manager and tries to gun down Frau and Washington, but it is out of bullets. So yeah, by the way, the campaign manager is a major enough character to actually have a name, Vivian. But honestly, this movie has a lot of fucking named characters, and the reason I've been calling her campaign manager is because of how ridiculous her role is going to be in this movie in about 5 minutes. So there's a reason. Just remember, she's a campaign manager when I'm describing her at the helm of the world space fleet.
Okay.
So she marvels that the Moon Nazis have been real all this time. Advil kisses her passionately and then leaves her behind as he goes off to conquer the planet. She is furious at being scorned by the new Moon Fuhrer as he grabs an iPad and leaves. Outside, two Moon Nazis in, again, admittedly very cool-looking helmets are looking at a porno mag and marveling at the shaved pubic regions of the Earth women. Of course, it's a whole bit about how the one woman has a mustache shaped like our... she has a pubic hair with like the mustache of our great Fuhrer. Advil comes up and tells them he's the new Fuhrer, and suddenly the old Fuhrer, apparently still alive, bursts onto the scene, very shot, and attempts to kill Advil, but Advil banters a bit and then just kicks him in the face, so that was pointless. That guy's the main villain in the second movie somehow. I don't know how, but he is.
I don't...
He's very dead here, clearly.
Can neither of us have to cover the sequel? Can we just do that?
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with taking 5 minutes to talk about it at the end, because there's a few things I know that are absolutely ridiculous.
Oh my God.
And I'm fine, because it's supposedly way worse than this one. So yeah, Advil and the Nazi soldiers take off in their saucer towards space, where Advil gives the fleet the order to attack the Earth. Like I said, the little 1-2-man ships look like old Nazi tanks, cool as hell. We see the fleet descend on NYC and begin attacking. We got some typical space invasion crap here. We see the spaceships are firing into the city. They destroy the Statue of Liberty, everything every fucking alien invasion movie's ever done. We see the campaign manager, the president, and the defense secretary are watching the broadcast. The president is overjoyed that she gets to be a wartime president, as this means her popularity will soar through the roof, saying the Nazis are the only guys who ever managed to beat in a fair fight. The military history lover in me screams with every fiber of my being that this isn't the time or place for that, so I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah, okay.
The president calls FDR a spastic. Campaign manager asks who her General Patton is, and the Secretary of Defense tells the president to send the campaign manager to deal with the Nazis. So, sure, okay.
Yeah, okay.
We cut to some jet versus space tank dogfights, which this is where, now it's starting to look a little dated. Once they start getting, like, explosions and they're trying to do dogfights in there, now the CGI starting to show its...
more often than they can chew.
It's starting to show its ass a little bit there, yeah. When they're just flying through space, cool as hell. When they're shooting at jets, yeah, okay, you could tell this was made a decade ago.
Fair enough.
So, it's not too bad, but yeah, it's still rough. So, despite there being explosions in the streets and general chaos, Washington and Frau just get into a cab. And then after arguing, Frau convinces Washington to go back to the moon with her to stop the super space weapon from launching. They take the cab upstate to get into the flying saucer. Imagine a cab trying to leave NYC on 9/11. And they do it with no problems despite there being a Nazi invasion. Dumb. The Nazis start launching meteors at the Earth as Washington and Frau fly the saucer back to the Nazi moon base. There's some bit about them not knowing how to fly the saucer, but who gives a fuck? Meanwhile, the UN is arguing about the Nazis. The UN here is basically just an excuse to have all the country representatives be over-the-top stereotypes of their country. The UK ambassador is the most Englishman ever. Like, the North Korean ambassador tries to take credit for the Nazi fleet, saying, like, oh, our great leader created all the fleet with his bare hands. And, like, you know, they're just over-the-top racial stereotypes of the countries they represent, basically. So the president reveals the United States has a Mars exploration ship that can fight the Nazis called the USS George W. Bush, which is, again, a dated joke. But for some reason, I find naming a space warship the George W. Bush somehow very funny. I don't know why.
It's definitely funnier in 2012 than it is now. It
seems like the type of thing Sarah Palin as president would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't hold up now, no. We see that George W. Bush is being commanded by the campaign manager, who for some reason is now wearing a leather jumpsuit with a feather collar. I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense. She says hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and she wants to kill Advil so badly because he didn't finish banging her and or didn't invite her to lead the Fourth Reich. I don't understand or care.
Okay, whatever. Yeah.
The George W. Bush has a bunch of guns, which it wasn't supposed to, according to the treaties signed by the rest of the UN. The George Bush is able to easily destroy most of the Nazi fleet single-handedly, and once again, in this case, the 2012 effects, they held up. They look pretty good in the space. For some reason with the jets, they really didn't look good at all, but this looked fine. The campaign manager eventually gets overwhelmed and calls for backup, which arrives in the form of an international space fleet of spaceships that are also armed to the teeth. It's a comedic medley of tropes. For example, the Australian ship is named the Dundee 1. So again, it's just fucking bog standard, very unfunny, topical humor. The president is pissed because this violates the treaty they all signed, which only America is supposed to violate treaties they signed. Guess what? Other country filmmakers don't like us. What else is fucking new? I don't like us. You get it? We're the bad guys. I'm very aware we're the bad guys. I live here. We see Advil arriving on the moon, clearly unconcerned about the death of his people in the fleet, instead focusing only on the secret weapon ship, which we see is enormous and populated with thousands upon thousands of Nazis. Frau and Washington arrive and sneak inside the big ship. The Earth fleet destroys all the Nazis and heads to the moon to finish off the Nazi base. Advil gets the big ship flying using the iPad. The iPad that he stole. Again, an iPad is all it takes to get this fucking ship going. The bridge of the big spaceship, it's like a big circular platform in like this gigantic round room, and there's like there's for some reason like a big, those like lightning balls that they sell at Spencer's Gifts in the mall.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. They have a name. But I can't remember what they're called. It looks like that.
Faraday cage or something.
Yes.
I don't know, something like
it's
that.
It's like that, but it's filled with smoke at the center.
Oh, okay.
And it's like this round platform that holds like maybe 8 guys, just in this gigantic empty open room. And there's like one ring of like really old lights hanging above them. Again, I cannot gush enough about the design. It looks
I'm
so
remembering this now. And they all get electrocuted, right?
No.
No.
Just the one guy. That is incredibly stupid. Again, I'm only commenting on how it looks. It looks great.
Okay.
Like it's dumb as hell. It's about to get even dumber. So Washington and Frau split up with Frau going to the bridge to stop Advil, and Washington to go find the mad scientist to become black again and also stop the engines.
Yeah.
Before they split, Washington tries to get Frau to admit she likes him, but she plays coy. Boy, I hope that pays off in an exciting manner. The campaign manager orders the Earth fleet to begin nuking the Nazi fortress. Again, Isaac, it's shaped like a giant swastika, because how else would you know? The crew hesitates since they'll basically be nuking civilians, but the manager orders it anyway. I'm kind of torn on this, because the desire to see Nazis destroyed is a strong one that's hopefully shared by all good and honest human beings. But in this case, considering it is Nazi civilians, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on how I feel about all this. It's an interesting philosophical experiment of like
once the Nazis are on the moon, are any of them innocent?
In a totally in a totally closed environment, I don't know. I really don't know.
It is a moral problem.
Yes.
It's like the trolley problem. Yeah,
yes.
It's complicated.
It is fascinating. It's made stupid in the movie because all of this comes about because the campaign manager is scorned by Advil, not any sort of tactical or moral decision. She's just like, that man wouldn't finish sleeping with me. It's fucking stupid as hell.
I'll finish sleeping with anyone.
I know you will. I've been there.
Yeah.
Every time you come,
the offer
I'm there.
sends to all of our listeners.
Again, send your nudes only to Isaac. Do not include me. I don't want to. I will never fuck you. So yeah, her crew hesitates, but eventually they do it and blow the base to hell, though they don't fully destroy it. We see a bunch of Nazi citizens running amok as their home is destroyed, and again, I mean, like, what am I supposed to be feeling here? I don't know. Whatever. Let's just move on. In the big ship, the mad scientist tells Advil that it will take 3 months to get the ship operational, but Advil tells him he has 3 minutes. God, that is a trope Star Trek loves to use too, and I fucking hate it. It's so dumb. Yeah. Like, well, it'll take me 2 hours. You have 1. Like, yeah, suck my dick. If it takes 2 hours, it takes 2 hours.
Right, exactly.
I've never liked that fucking bit.
Bake me a birthday cake. Okay, it's going to take 60 minutes. Bake it in 6 minutes. That's not how cakes work.
Right. Yeah. Dumb. Star Trek. I mean, at least the older. I don't know about the newer shit. Star Trek fucking sucked its dick over there. They couldn't stop doing that. It drove me nuts. I just hate having bosses. I know what that feels like. I don't know. Washington shows up and bonks the mad scientist in the back of the head with a giant wrench. Advil tries to get the ship moving and it explodes out of the moon. It's truly gigantic, like a giant Lego ship made by a 10-year-old, dwarfing the entire Earth fleet many times over. I'm not going to keep sucking the design department's dick, but again, they continue to do an excellent job here. The Earth fleet tries to destroy the big ship, but can't do any permanent damage somehow. I feel like they could have if they tried, but they stopped. Advil wants to shoot the Earth now, but the moon is in the way. Though his officers plead for him to stop, he shoots anyway, destroying a big chunk of the moon to give himself a clean shot at Earth. They have this old-timey aiming device that's like a magnifying glass on a grid. I think like submarines used to use something like that. And when Advil is cranking it into place, he has the look of the most positive glee I've ever seen on any human being ever. And I've watched people have sex not look that delighted. So now that they blew off a chunk of the moon,
it says about your sex game, Larry.
I don't even mean just me. I mean, I'm always delighted. I'm just happy to be in the room, man. I'm just happy people like me enough to talk to me. Christ. When you hate yourself this much, just being alive, people not actively beating you up feels good.
I've never had sex with someone with a face of glee.
Not the glee that this guy has in his face, and he is like he's two-handed cranking it like a big cranks. Like he looks like a little kid. It's pretty good.
Well, okay, to be fair, the sex face I want to see for my lover is not the face of a little kid on a playground.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. I feel like it's important that you acknowledge that.
You brought it up. Stop burying me. Stop making me the pedophile.
Hey, look, man. There was something earlier you said about having children in the basement. I didn't even bring that up. You brought that up in a whole. You made that up in a whole cloth, man.
Oh, wasn't that corpses? Not living children.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm the villain of the story. You're right.
Yeah, no, I wanted to be clear. Yeah.
Whatever you say, John Wayne Casey. In the bowels of the ship, Washington tries to stop the engines, but is attacked from behind by the doctor who Washington just didn't kill. What do we always say at the Larry Beard School of Villainy?
Kill everyone.
Always kill your enemies when you have the advantage, especially when they're mad Nazi scientists. It's written in the doorframe above the first classroom.
Just kill as often as possible.
Oh, that's the advanced course.
Fair enough.
That's for people who really want to learn how the universe works.
The Vladimir Putin course. Yes.
Oh, fuck that guy. I didn't want to joke about him. I hope he gets shot by his own men. Anyway, these two start to fight. Meanwhile, Frau is sneaking through the ship towards the bridge. She passes a speaker that plays the Nazi Germany national anthem and starts it, which everybody must immediately stop and heil the speakers upon hearing.
Oh, God, yeah, like fucking Mo and Curly, or Larry at Curly's back.
This allows Washington to get the advantage and Frau to sneak up to the bridge. Washington manages to stop the engines while Frau slips in and holds Advil at gunpoint before he can destroy the Earth. They banter and argue, and Advil, he kicks the big cathode tube full of smoke, which allows him to sneak up on Frau. Pretty cool scene. I like that. So he holds her at gunpoint. It's about to get incredibly stupid. As he berates her for throwing away her future, she manages to spy a faulty light fixture above them. She convinces him that she always respected and loved him and salutes him one last time. No. And I guess, feeling nostalgic, he salutes back and promptly shoves his hand into the faulty
goes in the light
fixture.
Socket, right? Oh, no!
And he
forgot. Oh.
And he gets shocked.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Oh, it's incredibly stupid.
Oh, my God.
That's how Bugs Bunny would defeat Elmer Fudd. It's so dumb.
Except Elmer Fudd's dick would go in the light socket.
Instead of killing him, like she very easily could, she instead tries to call Washington, who is shutting down the engines. Advil catches up with Frau, and they tussle on the ground before she manages to kill him by stabbing him in the brain with her high-heel German boot.
Right. Okay.
So I guess cool. A dead Nazi.
Feminism. That's feminism, Larry.
Look, a dead Nazi's a good Nazi, so whatever. Okay.
Get
the
that
ship now
stiletto. It's a weapon. It's a woman's weapon. Women are empowered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, I just remembered, I don't think I have it in the review, but the president also uses a stiletto as a weapon.
You go, girls.
Movie. Yeah, go get them,
ladies.
girls.
Come on. Go get it.
Fucking hell. The ship, now powerless, crashes down into the moon and mostly explodes as it was being powered only by a single iPad. We see that Washington and I guess Frau have escaped via an escape pod. I don't know. They both get out. Doesn't matter how.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The Earth fleet is celebrated by the UN for saving the planet. The campaign manager notices and mentions there's a bunch of giant towers of helium-3 on the moon that appear to be full. The president immediately claims it for America, which sets the UN off into a tizzy, and they all begin fist-fighting one another in the UN. The Secretary of Defense orders the campaign manager to protect the helium-3 against the other ships as we get a slow-motion comedy fist-fight between the UN members. This is where the president is like swinging her stiletto like a weapon. That fails to be very funny, set to a slow-motion dramatic version of the Star-Spangled Banner. Because remember, kids, America's bad. I live here. I'm aware. On the moon, we see Frau arriving in the remnants of the moon base that the Earth fleet nuked. She goes to her old classroom and tells the children and families gathered there to abandon Nazism and that they must survive and begin the foundation of a new society in the wake of the total collapse of Earth, which is happening before their eyes. We watch the Earth fleet destroy itself as everybody fights over the space oil as the campaign manager narrates a sad speech over the ramblings of a preacher in the background. On the moon, we see that Washington has re-blacked himself. Again, another phrase I never expected I would type. And passionately kisses Frau. Hey, remember that the mad Nazi scientist was her dad?
Honestly, no.
Yeah,
I don't.
He was, but it never comes up.
That's good
I don't know why.
storytelling.
They mention it like 3 times, but like they barely are on screen together. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Also, you see what I mean about the space oil? It doesn't matter until it suddenly destroys the Earth.
It's almost like nothing in this movie matters.
No, it's almost like we shouldn't have watched it, or it shouldn't have been made. As Frau and Washington kiss, a Nazi stands up and says uncertainly, "Are you aware that you are kissing a black man?" Which just seems so fucking fitting for these stupid Nazis. We pull back and the credits roll. On Earth, we begin to see nukes being launched and landing all over the planet as Earth society slowly destroys itself, showing us that showing us that, Isaac, we were the moon Nazis all along.
No.
Over the credits, we keep zooming out into space over what's actually a half-decent ending song, I thought, as we eventually pull out all the way to Mars.
Macarena? Is it Macarena?
Yes, it was the Macarena.
Okay, good.
We pull out all the way to Mars, where we see a satellite floating in space. Which I'm guessing has something to do with Iron Sky 2, which I hope I never have to watch.
That's going to be the trigger at both of our heads for the next several weeks.
Yes, it is. Don't fucking piss me off. At this point, we should probably watch it together.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe do it. Maybe we should do like a special episode where we don't take notes. We just watch it and talk about it. Because at this point, we've both watched this movie. It's somewhere in our lives. So we both watched this movie for this show, and there is a sequel. It's not like if there was a Pootie Tang 2. I suggested that too, but
I'm curious what we would do if we didn't take notes, but we both watched it, so we would have.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like that's worthwhile. That may be what we should do with Iron Sky 2.
Might be. Iron Sky 2 does feature zombified Hitler riding on a Tyrannosaurus Rex, so honestly, that might be it.
That sounds worth talking about.
It does. I saw that. I think he was a zombie. I don't know. He was riding a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I saw that.
I mean, that's
the
important part.
Okay, well, I have to read the description now.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Man. So let me tell you what Iron Sky. Let me tell you what gets me the most about this. This has all the trappings and the DNA of being a good movie if somebody really tried. The design is great. The concept of a secret Nazi moon base is great. Having a Nazi not realize the Nazis were terrible due to brainwashing and then breaking out of it to turn face is a solid concept. They bungled the execution, but it's a good idea for the protagonist of a movie to be like brainwashed as a Nazi and then be like, oh shit, the Nazis are bad. And then turning face. That's a good concept.
It's basically the setup of Schindler's List.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Really?
Well, no, I mean, he's a Nazi who realizes this is terrible. No, I don't want it. I'm not comparing the two. The basic concept of Nazi finds out Nazis aren't so Nazi after all.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I mean. No. I would never compare these two. Absolutely not. Schindler's List is a movie that deeply affected me because I was so sure it wasn't going to deeply affect me.
It may be Sophie's choice, like the choice between the moon and Mars of where you want to put your Nazis.
Okay. Not so sure I followed that one, but I haven't seen Sophie's Choice.
It makes sense.
Does it? Audience, write in and tell us if that makes
Meryl
sense.
Streep.
Who's
She's the queen.
What does she look like?
Terry Crews, but a white woman.
All right. So this movie could have been good. Not excellent, but it had all the tools to be something pretty enjoyable. To be frank, I don't know how you would do that with what you have here. If you told me to make this good, the only thing I could think to be would maybe make it a faux documentary about the time the moon Nazis invaded. That you could maybe scrounge something. There is something. There is something to this that could have been good because the stuff that was good, I thought was pretty damn good for what this movie was.
Moon Nazis done right could work. And I think faux documentary, you might be onto something. That might be the way to do it.
When I was trying to think of, okay, well, if I'm saying it has to be different, then to be fair, what do I say to do differently? That's what I could think of. You do talking, there's a book, World War Z, not the movie, which is radically different. The book World War Z is by Max Brooks. It's people recounting the end of the world due to zombies. It's told in like a Ken Burns Civil War style thing where it's like we talk about what happened and we kind of flash back to this is how it went down. I think you could maybe do that with a moon Nazi attack. I don't
Yeah.
know necessarily.
I feel like you'd be closer to getting it on point with
It's
that approach.
It's a good enough concept that I'm not just going to say throw it in the trash. Like like with the fucking Bruce Willis space janitor concept.
Oh, no. That was just
most of the things we have in this fucking show, I would just say, just throw it in the trash.
Moon Nazis on principle sounds
Yes.
cartoonish, but it is something you could, if you spun it the right way, you could do it right.
They made the Nazis in this acceptable villains because they're definitely bad guys. We don't get any Nazi sympathy because, like, the only person who's sympathetic to the Nazis, really, obviously the Nazis are bad, but the only person who says, like, no, the Nazis are good, she has a face turn and says, oh no, the Nazis are bad, I've been totally wrong. So we don't have any sort of squicky things we'd have to change there. They do that part right. Like, it's very clear the Nazis are absolutely the bad guys in this.
This did come out before Trump's Nazi sympathy, so
That's correct.
There's
no talk of Jews, no talk of camps, no talk of the Holocaust. They just make them villains, which makes it a lot, you don't have to worry about, like, I don't have to. There's no of us to go back and look at it and like we were just talking about the like the Stooges about they didn't portray the Japanese in a very particularly nice light. In this case, they've avoided that by just making the Nazis bad. The Nazis are bad because of all the bad shit they did, but without saying like without them saying I can't wait to put all the new Jews in new camps or anything like that kind of shit.
Yeah, very much. It just makes it a very simple villain.
Yes.
And it's
but they're the Nazis. They're the ultimate simple villain if you make them that. Like,
Right, yeah. And you don't, and obviously you can go out of your way to bring up like how complicated the nature of evil is.
Right.
And there's a great book about Nazism called Ordinary Men, where it's the people, generally the people who were Nazis and perpetrated the Holocaust, like they were ordinary men who had families, who had children, who had pet dogs. And, like, it gets really complicated when you look at evil, like, with that kind of nuanced, like, lens. And anytime you're looking at evil, it kind of is just inherently that complicated. But, but your point for this movie is Nazi just inherently bad, and we're not dealing with nuance. It's just villain, straight up villain. It's bad guy in the James Bond movie.
The good thing, and I'm going to say this very carefully so it can't be fucking clipped and used against me later. The good thing about fictional Nazis is that they are always bad, and that is fine when it comes to fiction. If you give basically any person in the world a generic video game where you see a fucking hand and a gun, and you're like, you are John Handgun, and you've got a hand and a gun, and a Nazi comes around the corner, you're going to be like, oh, I need to shoot that guy. He's a Nazi.
Yes.
Like that, when it comes to fiction, you can do that. It doesn't always have to be what you were saying, because it is fascinating historically, the nature of evil and like the concept of what evil truly is and how you break it down in a society that fueled a war machine that committed the worst atrocities in humanity, but also like, there was like a lot of guys who were just farming and just being like, I don't know what about the war. I just farm grain, okay? Like everybody hates me and all I do is farm grain. So
Nazis are the easiest villains.
Yes, in fiction you can just make and this movie as a fictional movie makes them good fictional generic villains. Like that part is fine. And there's the weird stuff with Washington and turning him from being a black man to a white man, but he's also one guy in this, and that's just for his character arc and doesn't really have anything to do with Nazism, because like they kick him out of the van and promptly forget he exists. Like it's not it's just a weird decision. You definitely take that shit out of a fucking remake. If you handed me Iron Sky and you were like, Larry, try to make this good, get that shit out of here. What are you doing? What the fuck? So the characters are all pretty bland or one note. I liked Frau well enough, but she's nothing special. Like her character and the actress, fine. They're fine. Everybody else is just kind of there. The problem I feel hurts this the most is that they focus in on these personal stories that just aren't very good, and there's a lot of them. Like the campaign manager, the feud between the current and future Moon Führer. Moon Führer is hard to say. The president, the secretary of defense, the UN, the nation states fighting over this space oil. I don't know. It all felt so disjointed. Like they had all these great stories, and instead of focusing in on Frau and Washington, which is what they should have done, and Advil, you want to focus on the villain side too. Yeah, okay, Advil too. There's like the space battle and the UN. It's like there's like 15, 20 minutes of that. You just don't need it. It's you're bogging down the rest of it, which is fine. Not fine, but like passable. And they really, for God's sake, Washington is sneaking around the moon base for like 3 minutes. That could have been half the movie.
A lot of time.
Is just Washington just fucking around the Nazi base and being like, look at these crazy moon Nazis. Look at this shit they're doing. I don't know, like, show us how the crazy moon society got twisted up. This whole experience was very frustrating because, above all, this movie was boring and forgettable despite the fact that it had Nazis on the fucking moon. Like, it straddled the line between silly and trying to be cool too much. It never went enough for serious and didn't go enough for silly. I don't know what it was meant to be. It couldn't get there in either direction.
I'm still not sure how I feel about you wanting Nazis on the moon as like a good movie.
I want them to. It's a funny. It's like I want to see Nazis on the moon get their ass kicked. It's the same thing like Nazis to the center of the earth. Like they make great generic villains in a fictional story.
Okay,
to have like Captain America or whoever kick their ass. Like,
what I'm wondering is Toy Story 5.
Yes,
they're
Didn't
Nazis.
Toy Story have like basically a Nazi equivalent in it? I only saw the first one. I don't.
There's some bad. You watch the Toy Story movies. They're all good. There's bad.
I'm
toys.
31. I'm not gonna fucking seek out Toy Story.
It's Pixar. Seek out Pixar. It's good. It's better movies than you're watching. Trust me.
Get around to it.
Trust me.
I watched The Imitation Game yesterday, and that movie was amazing.
Watch Pixar.
You haven't seen it, by the way. Really good movie.
But I'm saying, if in Toy Story 5, all the toys are Nazis and on the moon, do you think that's going to be good?
No, of course not.
No. You're making me question you, Larry.
I just think it could have been better. Like, that seems like a slam dunk for a villain. I don't know.
It sounds like you want Nazis on the moon.
I want Nazis on the moon and watch them get their asses handed to them. Yes.
Okay. Part 2 is the important part. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. Has this review made you think I'm anything but extremely anti-Nazi? Have I given you the wrong impression? Because I've been very clear.
I smelled your heart-on for Nazis on the moon, and I was nervous.
Listen.
But if you want them to be destroyed on the moon, then we're okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. We're good. We're good, baby. We're good.
Do we need to do a fucking hour-long podcast where I extol how much I hate the Nazis? Because I will.
Wait, you hate the Nazis?
Yes!
What?
Listen, if you're going to have a movie where we're fighting Nazis, which there's thousands of them, if you ask me, do you want regular Nazis just in France, in Germany, in Poland, or do you want Nazis on the fucking moon? Of course I'm going to say and put them on the moon! Okay.
That's fair. That is fair.
Right.
I'll give you that.
So this was kind of a tough one because there was a lot of things about this movie I really liked. Again, I cannot say enough how much I thought the design was off the charts. It was. Maybe that's just my thing. Maybe I have a hard on for that aesthetic. I don't know, but all the moving parts and the spaceships themselves, like somebody really. Like, that seemed like a labor of love for the creator of this. And, maybe if you watch this, please don't. Maybe you can just tell me, Larry, you're a fucking idiot. I'm willing to believe that. Maybe just hit me where I live. I don't know. I thought it looked cool. But the plot fell flat almost entirely. And it's a harder fall for me in my eyes in a movie that has this good DNA at the core and then squanders it really badly. It hits harder. It's like, ugh.
And when you say good DNA, you mean Nazi DNA? Because you support the Nazis fundamentally and their ideology?
I am going... I'm going to shoot you to the moon. No, I don't support the fucking Nazis.
Oh, newsflash. Larry doesn't support Nazis. I'm surprised.
All right. You motherfucker.
I apologize for everything.
It's right. You better. So, yeah, I this movie, I gave it a 3 because
Okay.
it's way more watchable than a lot of the things I've had to watch for this podcast. Like,
Yeah, and like
I would
we were
never
talking about,
willingly
just
watch this
production
again.
value.
Yeah. I would not willingly watch this again, but if somebody turned it on, I would probably be like, oh, yeah, this happened. And like, oh, the tanks are cool, but I wouldn't, There have been a lot worse things. I think it's a testament, too, to this show. Like, I have I have like 55 other episodes I have done to compare it to, as opposed to like if this was episode 5 and I was doing it, I probably would have had a lot different feelings about it.
But as dumb as it is, I bet this movie's entertaining.
Yes,
like, start to finish.
It is. Not start to finish. The middle is really fucking muddy.
But overall,
they didn't write a middle. They didn't have a middle of this movie. They were just like, we know we want to have him on the moon, and we want to have a space battle at the end. And I don't know, just fucking figure out the middle as we're filming it.
But like compared to the Wedding Planner or something like that, this is entertaining.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself, like, and I've said before, like, for as harsh of a critic as I can be, there's a lot of little things that can sway me, like Little Rascals. I gave that movie, I upped it a point purely because they did a fucking wacky racist segment, and part of me is 8 years old and thinks that wacky races are the coolest thing that humanity's ever produced. I'm aware of that. It's a failing of mine.
Okay, you said wacky races, and I thought you said wacky racist, and I was really confused until I remembered. They're like fucking.
You don't remember the wacky racist from Little Rascals?
Yeah, Donald Trump.
Fuck! Shit! That's such a good ending. We have more shit to do. Damn it! That would have been the perfect ending to this fucking episode. Damn. Oh man. Sometimes you're the smartest human being on the planet.
Occasionally.
Better than being the smartest Nazi on the moon. Am I right? All right. What am I fucking doing next? You piece of shit. You absolute asshole.
Okay. So we're gonna leave it up to you because.
Come on.
What?
Fine.
Yeah, I have to make you choose how you want to suffer. So everyone knows all the fun stuff. So find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, bowelsofmovienight@gmail.com, send us an email, all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Rate
Check out our website, theearlybeard.com.
Put cat food in your grandmother's vagina.
Don't do that.
So Sarah, one of the Sarahs, I'm not even sure which Sarah. There's too many Sarahs. I can keep track of them. One of them emailed in January, and we haven't noticed until now. It's April.
We didn't?
Yeah.
Which account? I've been trying to pay attention to that. I must
the Bowels Movie Night account, the new account.
Oh shit! I don't know if I have access to that. I might be.
I think I
don't know if I looked at it yet.
I don't. It's not.
Oh fuck yeah, I do. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Okay. So,
God damn it.
Her email
Sorry,
just
Sarah.
says, and I forget what it's in reference to, but obviously I'm listening, Larry. So I think you made some comment in January if she was listening or not. So we're either going to do her movie suggestion for you, which is An Evening with Beverly Luff Lynn, which is a movie starring a bunch of people that I actually kind of like. It's on Netflix. Aubrey Plaza,
Okay.
Daryl from The Office. Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords.
Okay. I mean,
I know. And I saw the previews for this movie in 2018. I was like, oh shit, I want to watch this. And I just never got around to it. But apparently it's not a good movie. So
now, Sarah, this is not Dr. Twilight. This is my friend Sarah for a long time. And she knows my taste very well. So this is terrifying. She knows.
Yes.
She knows what I will hate.
You
This
can either
scares me.
choose this movie or one of the historically classic bad movies of all time. And I'll leave that choice up to you.
Can you tell me the runtime of that movie? Because Beverly Luff Lynn is 1 hour and 48 minutes.
I think
that may affect my choice.
I think I have it pulled up. Hold on. We're at about 1 hour 30. So it's shorter, but not significantly. It's up to you, Larry. What are you going to do?
Fuck. This is a tough choice for me. I think I know she wants me to watch this so she can talk to me about it. She may be manipulating the podcast. She may have told me about this, and I told her there's no way I'll watch that, and she may just be manipulating the podcast, so I'm forced to talk about it with her. So
that sounds about right.
Let's go with the classically bad. I gotta go with the shorter movie.
Larry.
What am I pulling up?
It's on Amazon Prime. It's the one, the only Sharknado.
Oh, come on. Also, I see that Beverly Loughlin has Matt Berry, and I think I'm in love with him. So,
Who's Matt Berry?
oh, he does Toast of London. I am a straight man. I'm pretty sure I'm falling in love with Matt Berry. Like, in love. Fucking, for real, man. We're doing... Come on, everybody's done Sharknado.
You haven't?
I'm ashamed... Fuck. I hate that you're right. I hate that you're right.
It's a movie that deserves our hot take.
It's been done to... So, Sharknado 1 or
Sharknado 1.
7? Okay.
If you want to give me Sharknado 7 and we can go out of order backwards, that's up to you.
Isaac, we cannot review all the Sharknadoes. I forbid it.
I know.
When a freak tornado sweeps Los Angeles, thousands of sharks terrorize the waterlogged populace, and nature's deadliest killer rules sea, land, and air. I'm already bored. John Hurd? Tara Reid?
I know.
Really?
I know.
That surprises me.
I know.
Oh, man. Yeah, everyone's heard of this, so at least there's that. Boy, 3.3 on IMDb. Yikes.
Oof. That's low.
Well, great.
It's going to be worth covering.
Is it?
And at some point, maybe we should do like a double episode, but we should cover Troll 2. We should cover The Room.
Yeah. The Room. Yeah.
Like those need to be discussed at some point. Whether a regular episode or a bonus or something, but
like
just these
different.
like historically classically bad movies, we do have to cover them.
Have you ever seen The Room?
I have not actually. No.
Okay, you've seen, was the other one Goblin? No,
Troll 2. I've seen Troll
that?
2 in its entirety.
Okay. I haven't seen Troll 2, but I have seen The Room, so maybe we should just flip it.
Yeah. Oh man,
I've seen the clip. I've seen the clip of Troll 2.
No, I
He's
watched
eating
Troll
her.
2 beginning
He's
to
gonna eat
end.
Okay.
It's a trip. Holy Christ.
Yeah. I
All
don't
right,
know how
well,
I feel about this, but okay, fine.
We gotta cover the big ones. Is there white whales or white sharks or white sharknadoes?
God, when I scroll down from the Amazon page of Sharknado, my whole screen is filled with more Sharknadoes.
There's a lot of Sharknadoes. It's
There's
pretty
like
distressing.
one movie in this that isn't Sharknado.
Yeah.
And it's Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird knockoffs that aren't Sharknadoes,
there's
but are basically Sharknadoes.
Pretty much since, like, Tremors, there have been an infinite number of low-budget, like, monster movies.
There's like a Santa shark movie that I've almost given you so many times.
Like, here's the thing, man. This is, I don't know, it's our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want with it. But, like, I'm not even interested in giving you some of these movies. Of course they're going to be bad. But, like, it seems like that's the point,
Yeah, when they're going out of their way to be bad.
Are the ones that are, like, trying to be good. Now, I know The Room, famously, he thinks it's a masterpiece. But, like...
Well, and same with Troll 2.
Yes. Like,
There's this weird Italian guy who thought he was a genius.
Yeah. I'm more interested in the ones that are, like, supposed to be good, but end up being bad,
right.
Yeah. And, like, I'm sure Sharknado will be terrible, and I'll hate it, and we'll have a great time. But, and I'm not ever going to say, you shouldn't give me that. I think you shouldn't give me this, but I understand. If we just fucking review these, what are we doing?
No, that can't be our bread and butter. And we have to dip our toe in here and there, for sure.
Because if you had given me Lamageddon and then Velocipaster and then Sharknado, I probably would have killed myself.
We need to keep you alive.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. This show is all about Larry Beard's well-being.
No, fuck, no. Oh, God, that's too much pressure.
Oh, God. Pressure. I think we did it already, but rate, subscribe, do the fun stuff.
Please.
And
Please do.
I'm doing, what's it called? What is it called? Fred Durst.
Oh, I don't remember.
Fred Durst. I looked it
What's
up. The Fanatic.
The Fanatic, yeah.
Starring John Travolta, an aging actor who doesn't have brain damage. Presumably.
We'll be making fun of John Travolta.
Yeah. God, Jesus. And then, Sharknado. Stay tuned. 11/13, we got Sharknado coming up. It's going to be hot and fast and all over your tits.
I am very excited to hear about this Fred Durst movie.
Yeah, I already started going down a Fred Durst rabbit hole, and I knew I hated him, but I didn't know why I hated him, and now I know why. And
You know,
I'm
that
really
isn't that
angry.
just the way I've done this in the past, where it was like, boy, I don't like that guy. Why don't I like that guy? Oh, because everything about him is completely unlikable.
He is a shithead.
Yes.
He
yes.
is a substantial shithead.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know who I don't know who I want to be on Donald Trump's 2024 VP ticket. Kid Rock or Fred Durst. I'm confused.
Fucking, that is, oh, God. Oh, I hate them both so much.
And on that note, I think we're done. I think that's it.
Oh, God. How did this end up being so long?
Well, it'll be under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Who would you rather smell, Kid Rock or Fred Durst?
Can I kill myself? Is that an option?
No.
I'd rather smell you later. Just the skin of my teeth.